Memorial is Russia's most established rights group. Why did prosecutors decide to go after it like this?
Precisely for that reason, because Memorial is so prominent, because it is the most respected human rights organization in Russia, set up in 1989 when Mikhail Gorbachev was still head of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union. And since then has built up an enormous archive documenting the crimes of the Soviet past and, most importantly, the victims of the Soviet past, because one of the key functions of Memorial was to try to ensure that the victims of crimes committed in the past would not be forgotten. And it's partly because of that, I think, that Vladimir Putin has decided to act against Memorial, given the fact that he comes from a KGB background himself, and much of the research carried out by Memorial was into the crimes of the predecessors of the KGB. But Memorial has gone beyond that. It's gone beyond just documenting the past to looking at the present. And this is another reason why the current authorities in Russia have decided to go against it. Just recently, for instance, October, it compiled a list of 420 political prisoners in Russia, up from about 46, I think it is, back in 2015, which gives a pretty clear indication of how repressive the state is becoming in Russia today. By documenting that sort of repression, by documenting what's been happening in Chechnya in the south of Russia, even beyond Russia, what Russian mercenaries, for instance, have been doing in Syria, that has earned Memorial the enmity of the Russian state, and that is why it's decided to use this catch-all law, the foreign agent label, which forces anybody labeled by the state as a foreign agent to give its sources of funding, and on every single publication, including on social media, to give the label foreign agent, which for Russians has a really negative connotation, recalling the 1920s and 30s spy trials and so on. By doing that, it's put Memorial and others, not just Memorial, in a very difficult position.
This decision does cap off a year that's seen other crackdowns on civil society. What does all of this mean for Russia? How significant is it?
Well, I think it's really significant. So I don't think anybody should just pass this over lightly. It is a major step. Yes, we've seen action taken against many other civil rights organizations, against media outlets, against religious minority groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses and so on and so forth. But to go after Memorial is a significant step because of the respect that the organization has held both within Russia and outside of Russia. It's interesting that Mikhail Gorbachev, who I referred to just a moment or two ago, former leader of the Soviet Union, the last president of the Soviet Union, joined with Dmitry Muratov, the editor of mine's gone blank, Novaya Gazeta, who just won the Nobel Peace Prize. The two of them appealed for action not to be taken against Memorial. That in itself just gives you an idea of how important it is. This feels like the drift towards authoritarianism is gathering pace in Russia. That's why it's so important. I think probably what we're going to see now that Memorial is at least partially out of the way is at least in part a rehabilitation of the Stalinist past as well.
All right, Rob, thank you very much for that analysis on that decision by Russia's Supreme Court. That's our Chief International Affairs Editor, Robert Parsons.